Hello everyone and welcome to my den. I'm Kane Lowen and today we are back for another reaction video. This is another MandJTV video and actually it's one that he just uploaded like 40 minutes ago at the time of this recording. I was just going about my morning routine and then I finished the video that I was watching and I noticed that he uploaded another one. Um right, basically I noticed it right as I was about to get up and start working on editing the other videos I recorded. Um, and I was like, "Okay, so that's perfect timing then." But yeah, we're so today we'll be reacting to the 20 most hated Pokemon and why they shouldn't be. Yeah, I mean the thumbnail already has me like gives me a pretty good idea of what kind of stuff is going to be in here. And we will see what happens. I tend to have a soft spot for some lesser liked Pokemon. I know that in like recent years I've really come around to the ice type in particular. I'm a sucker for underdog stories and like that's exactly the kind of thing that ice types are, underdogs effectively. Super like they're basically in Yu-Gi-Oh terms it could kind of be like an anti-meta deck or something, you know. Some of the most powerful Pokemon in the game are like super weak to ice. So if you utilize an ice type well, you can at least you might not win against everything, but you will win against some of the best if you just utilize them properly, you know, and that sort of thing. So I definitely and like I hear ice types get a lot of hate when I feel like it's not deserved sometimes. So yeah, I imagine it'll be similar to that sort of thing, but in with specific Pokemon instead of just types. But yeah, and I'll head over to my React corner now, and we'll get started. Here we go.
What are the most hated Pokemon? More than forgotten, more than unpopular, Pokemon that many people wish to see deleted from existence. You told me who they are. I
Oh,
posted this survey asking respondents to checkmark every Pokemon they hated.
I did not see this survey, so I did not participate in this, unfortunately. It was probably just on his community tab or something, but like I don't really check that very often, so.
With explicit instruction that they must strongly dislike the Pokemon. Nearly 20,000 people replied. Today, we're going to take a look at the top or bottom 20. However, I will mostly not be joining in on the dog pile.
Oh,
When I was a younger man, there were
oh,
plenty of
meh.
Pokemon I despised, and I made videos insulting them. But now that I'm in my 30s, I've mellowed out and frankly just don't care that much anymore. Plenty more.
I mean, felt that honestly. I still remember how cringe I was back when I was like a teenager, being like a super hardcore like PlayStation fanboy, super anti Xbox, and stuff like that. I've mellowed out a lot. I mean, Xbox still isn't my favorite, but like, you know, I got an Xbox One. I played some of the stuff on it. It was pretty fun. Um, I haven't turned the thing on, let alone played it in years, but that's a whole separate thing. But yeah, that's a thing that happens. At least as far as I'm concerned, that's a thing that should happen. As you grow, as you mature, you'll mellow out about a lot of things that you were probably really passionate about in the past. Especially if it turns out to be something like that, like something really unimportant in the grand scheme of things, you know? Like there's bigger stuff going on. No, like you shouldn't be this passionate about like your hatred for I don't know, Smoochum or something. I don't know, you know?
More important things to get mad about. So for this video, I gave myself a challenge. I will tell you the most hated Pokemon, but then for every single one, I'm going to defend something about it. Find at least one aspect that I like.
Also, just slight not disclaimer, but I'll try not to yap as much in this one. Because in my more recent recordings, I would yap so much that sometimes the reaction would go for like more than twice as long as the original video I'm reacting to because so much of it was just me pausing the video to yap. So I don't know if that'll be how it ends up in editing. I haven't edited those videos yet, but like, yeah.
Even for the Pokemon that I do genuinely despise. But before we
Oh,
get
no, thanks, yeah.
started, I should warn you. There's going to be some Pokemon on this list that might upset you. So,
Oh?
let's be chill, okay? Okay. We
Saw
begin with
Charizard and
number
Bulbasaur.
20, Okie 905 people marked it, 4.65% of the total respondents. That may not sound like a lot, but 5% of all the people saying they hate this thing is quite significant. Now, a lot of the Pokemon in the top 20 didn't really surprise me. I've been around Pokemon for a long time and know a lot of the hated ones. Okie did surprise me because I personally just generally forget that it exists. Yet 5% of you hate it? Okie is one of the most recent Pokemon, a legendary from the DLC of one of the most recent games.
Honestly, Okie I've never had an issue with. I mean, I never used it or anything. I mean, its design's not my favorite or anything, but I think it's alright. The one I don't like is Monkey Dory. Isn't Monkey Dory just like an objectively trash Pokemon or something? Like wasn't there something like its moveset is garbage, its stats are garbage, it's just shit or something? I feel like I remember something like that.
I'm surprised it's even had time to upset anyone. Now, unfortunately, with almost 20,000 responses, I cannot possibly get specific replies for why people happen to hate the Pokemon featured in this video. So the best I can do is make educated guesses. And for Okie I have 2 guesses. People think it's ugly, and it's one of the villains of the Ogerpon story. In regards to the first reason, I do agree, it is kinda ugly. But far from one of the most ugly, and it being a bit ugly suits the lore.
Yeah, and either way, Monkey Dory makes this thing look like friggin' I don't know who's somebody attractive. This thing looks like fucking Scarlett Johansson compared to Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory's ugly as fuck. It looks like a foot. And people want to call this thing ugly. No.
Desiring power, it is corrupted by the toxic chain and transformed into a stronger but brutish version of its former self. That leads into the second reason for why people might hate it being the villain of the Ogerpon story, but that's actually my reason to defend it. It's part of a cool story. Scarlet and Violet's strongest aspect is its story, and that continued into the DLC. I enjoyed the subversion.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. From like, obviously not day one, because I couldn't have known where the story was gonna go or what was gonna happen with the characters or anything day one. But like, by the end of the game's main story, I was and still am arguing quite favorably for its story. And Scarlet and Violet, as far as I'm concerned, have like the best story of any Pokemon game. There's an argument for Gen 5, but like I love the Scarlet and Violet story so much. I love the characters so much. Anybody who's interacted with me on like Discord or anything knows that I'm probably one of the biggest defenders of Scarlet and Violet, and I fully intend to remain like that. Because it's so good. The only problem those games ever had was the performance. If it ran better at launch, nobody would have cared. But yeah, I love the story. I love the characters. I love everything about it.
Version of expectations about the Loyal 3, and of course, Ogerpon 2. And yes, Ogerpon is the cute one that's the misunderstood good guy and thus really easy to root for. But well-written villains deserve some appreciation too. Next,
well-written villains are such a tricky balance because, at least in my opinion, if you write a villain too well, they just kind of become insufferable because they're written that way. But like, it doesn't even become a fun insufferable. It becomes an I want to skip every cutscene you're in insufferable. But that also sometimes comes down to the acting more than anything. Like the Vulture in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I forget the actor's name, but the guy who plays the Vulture in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, does a fantastic job just playing an insufferable shithead. And, like, I can't fault him for making the character or for, like, portraying the character how he's meant to be portrayed, an insufferable shithead. But, like, there's still the first half of that statement, insufferable. I skip all but, like, 1 or 2 episodes the guy shows up in, because he plays the villain. He plays that character so well that I hate looking at him whenever he's on screen, so I just skip past it. And, yeah, that's the thing with, like, well-written villains, is, like, yeah, sometimes they're written a little too well that you just don't even like looking at them, because they're that evil,
Is a
or
Pokemon
whatever.
I expected. Number 19, Perugly. People tend to like cute or cool Pokemon, not so much the ugly ones. And when you got ugly in your name, Perugly got 973 votes.
When I played Pokemon Platinum as a kid, for a significant amount of time, I misread this thing's name consistently as Purgly. I think it wasn't until the anime was saying its name as Perugly that I realized it was Perugly and not Purgly or Purgly or whatever I was thinking it was.
Selected by 5% of respondents. And I get it, it's hideous on purpose, which is an all-new kind of hideous. Additionally, Mars's Perugly was responsible for my very first death in my very first ever Nuzlocke, so I'm personally not a fan. Perugly is tougher to defend than Okidogi, but what I can say is this: it's funny. Glameow is fancy, regal, glamorous. But then it doesn't take care of itself, gorging on food and lazing about, and thus becomes so fat and ugly that it has to use its tail to trick everyone into thinking it has muscles. It's a cat
Wow.
that let itself go. That's pretty funny. Next is number 18, Hypno. It got exactly 1 more vote than Perugly. 974, 5.01% of responses.
People hate this thing because of the anime. 100%. It's because of the anime. They made it. I mean, it was already kind of creepy before that, but they made it super creepy in the anime.
Hypno is likely hated due to how creepy it's believed to be, hypnotizing children and leading them away. Yeah, bad connotations there. Additionally, it looks creepy. I think the nose is a big reason for this. It's like a beak made of flesh. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then when it's staring you down with those menacing eyes, I am indeed creeped out. Wait, hold on though. Lots of Pokemon are creepy, but they're not hated. Why is Hypno singled out? Well, that's because those other Pokemon are supernatural creepy, while Hypno is person creepy. For example, Runerigus is creepy, but it's a shadow inhabiting a rock. Hypno is mostly a guy doing an action people do. Human-like Pokemon are fine, creepy Pokemon are fine. But when you combine those things together, it's quite upsetting because it feels too real. To demonstrate this, take a look at Sandream, the Hypno evolution I made for my Every Original Pokemon Game Freak Still Forgot video. Inspired by the Sandman, this psychic ground type
I'm pretty sure I watched that video, but I don't remember this at all.
immediately looks less creepy because it's not holding the weird tool, but more importantly, it's got Drowsy's nose again. But I can't defend Hypno by just saying, oh, it could have a cool evolution. I have to find something good about it as it is now. I like its origin. In addition to tapirs and hypnotists, it may be based on Baku, Japanese supernatural beings that are said to devour nightmares. According to legend, they were created by the spare pieces that were left over when the gods finished creating all other animals. Additionally, the Japanese term Baku both refers to this creature and the Malayan tapir. Drowsy and Hypno are based on a pun. And I happen to like puns.
Fair.
I don't like Drowsy. Don't make this weird again. Number 17 is Gumshoos. It got 982 votes, 5.05% of responses.
I thought people liked Gumshoos. I am, in my entirety, indifferent to Gumshoos, but I thought people liked it. I've heard praise for it.
Now, I'm pretty confident that the reason this Pokemon is hated is because it bears a striking resemblance to someone widely and justifiably despised. That's right, it's Shieldbert. Stupid blonde hair, pompous posture, a superiority complex? Ugh, can't stand him. But that's not Gumshoe's fault.
Wasn't Gumshoes from the generation before those characters?
Gumshoes is just a goofy lookout trying its best. And I, specifically, could never hate it. The first Pokemon I caught in Pokemon Sun was a shiny Yungoos that I named Hero. And of course, it eventually became a shiny Gumshoes. So yes, I will acknowledge that Gumshoes looks like someone horrible. Shieldbert. But they are not the same, and therefore hating Gumshoes feels excessive. Just focus on the shiny. It's quite nice. And also, mine. Number 16 is Smoochum. Damn, y'all got it out for blondes. Smoochum is the first one to receive over 1,000 votes, being selected by 5.17%.
I promise this is not pre-watched. Because as you may remember, I mentioned Smoochum earlier in the video. And now apparently Smoochum is one of the ones that is showing up in the video. I did not mean for that to happen.
Of respondents. I would wager that the reason this Pokemon is hated is because of its association with another Pokemon that is, spoiler, higher on this list. But I don't really think that's enough to justify it. My defense is that Smoochum on its own is generally cute. Far from the cutest, absolutely, but if someone doesn't have the cutest baby, do you hate their baby? Although I will admit, the hair, it's a little odd.
Yeah.
And the whole goes around feeling things out with its lips thing, that is more odd.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like the Pokemon, but hating it feels extreme.
I feel like the fact that it's literally supposed to be a baby kind of helps me forgive that a little bit. If it was a grown-ass adult doing that, I would be a little bit concerned. But, like, it's a baby. So, I feel like a little bit more, like, liberty. A little bit more, what's what we're looking for? I feel like there's a little bit more, like, lenience you could give to that.
Just lump it in with all the other baby Pokemon that really shouldn't exist because we should have gotten evolutions instead.
Yeah, honestly.
It is I, Grunty Boy, and are you pulling out your phone? Well, I wasn't in the mood to hear about whatever, so I'm gonna play some Clash of Critters, the sponsor of this video. It's a really fun creature collecting game that I've been playing recently. Oh, how rude! Give me that! What are you even doing here? Pinball?
What?
Oh wait, this is actually super fun.
That's
Oh, I pulled a critter.
That's not pinball. That's what Plinko? Pachinko?
That's hilarious and perfect. I'm a type of goon. Yeah, and you're bugging me. Now give it back. No, Goonbug is my friend, and I must evolve him. I bet it gets a suit. No, I was wrong. Capo Beetle gets sunglasses. Even better. Now one more time into Dawn Scarab, sunglasses and buff. He's just like me. I can't even see your muscles with that loose shirt. Now hand over my... Come along, Dawn Scarab, to battle. Behold the strength of an ascended goon. Wait a minute. If I finish this brand deal, you have to leave. What? Wait, hold on, don't! Play Clash of Critters today by scanning the QR code on screen using my link in the description below. Until September 21st, use code HELLO-TATARI to get 100 pinballs, 4,000 candies, and 3 blue Tatari capsules, and then code GOONBUG to get 1 Goonbug, 1 lunchbox, and 4,000 candies. Codes are redeemable once per player. No!
Fair enough.
You've bested me! But joke's on you, because I'm taking your phone with me! No, I should have realized that. It's critter time! Ta-ta! Number 15 is our first starter Pokemon, Quackquavel. 1,041 votes, selected by 5.35% of respondents. I should mention at the front here, I did pick Quaxly in my first playthrough of Scarlet. It was always my favorite of the base forms, and while Skeledirge was my favorite final form, by a lot, I liked Armarouge more, and did not want to overlap fire types. But even though it was
Fair.
my first Gen 9 starter, I don't love it. My impression is that generally, Pokemon fans, myself included, are growing weary of highly person-like starters rather than more animal-like ones. And I don't mean bipedal starters. I mean like, it's a person with an animal's head. Quackquavel falls into that category, but slightly less so, which actually makes it worse. It mostly has the proportions of a human, but then the bottom half of its torso is a bird's. This makes it look like it's, how do I put this delicately? Like it's popping out his fat ass. I was also disappointed with Quackquavel because lots of fan art, thanks to Quaxley's hat, predicted that its final evolution would be a sailor or a pirate or even a sick-ass bullfighter. I'll say, this one's on me.
That was pretty cool, actually,
I got my hopes up for something that I, specifically, would think is cool, and I know not every Pokemon can be designed for everyone. But man, a pirate would have been so much cooler. No one showed me any art of, like, fake Winston Wave starter evolutions. I'm just gonna end up disappointed. But overall, Quackquavel is something that I'm disappointed with, not something that I hate. For my positive thing about it, I think the peacock feathers made of water are really cool, and I love how it moves them when attacking. If only those had been attached to a bird. Not a bird person with a giant butt. Number 14 is Simisear. 1,079 votes, 5.55% of responses. Look, the Unova monkeys as a whole are an unpopular group, including with me. In my 2018 least favorite Pokemon video, I put Simipour at number 10 and Simisear at number 4. But why? It's mainly their looks.
Wasn't Simisear in like the Gen 5 days? Like there was, I remember Chuck Conroy talked about this in his Let's Play. That like in the early Gen 5 days, there was a poll in Japan specifically that was asking what everybody's like favorite and least favorite Pokemon were, or something like that. Or I guess it determined the least favorite by seeing how like the fewest people that picked it as their favorite or whatever. Out of at the time 721 Pokemon, I think it was 721, and Simisear, I believe, was literally all the way at the bottom. It was like the most disliked one, or rather, the least liked one. So yeah, it's like even from its introduction, people did not like this thing.
While the base forms are generally cute, the evolved forms look strange and off-putting. Plus, their role is to be a second starter trio, but they look worse than even the least popular starters. I would choose Quackquavel over Simipour every time, but it's Simisear that is generally singled out as the worst of the three. And I think a big reason for that is because of a meme. Quoting from Bulbapedia, Simisear ranked last in the Japanese Pokemon General Election 720 poll to decide what would be distributed at Japanese showings of Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel. It was distributed at Pokemon centers and Pokemon stores to commemorate its loss. This is objectively funny, and it went kind of viral when we learned about it, and so for a bit it became kind of a thing to hate Simisear. And I took part. It was number 4 in that 2018 video. But now, and this is my defense of it, I think it's the best of the three. Simisage has bad hair. Reminds me of Swordward. And Simipour looks like a slight breeze would make it flash us.
Oh my
god.
god.
It also has bad hair. But Simisear has cool fire hair. Straight up, it's the best part of its design. To be clear, I do not love it. But now that the meme of its unpopularity is kind of past, I don't really think it's that horrible.
Fair.
Numbers 13 and 12.
I mean, design stuff is gonna be subjective, isn't it? But yeah, none of them have ever been awful. They did what they were supposed to do, you know? You're just not really expected to keep them the whole game. You can if you want to. You're just not expected to.
12 must be lumped together because somehow they're an exact tie. Both got exactly 1,112 votes, 5.72% of responses. They are Alolan Persian and Illumise. Let me hit Alolan Persian first. Not great.
Yeah.
The head, not good. Supposedly,
Agreed.
it's intended to be a nod to selective breeding for rounder face shapes in cats, namely the British Shorthair. But this was too far. It looks like it should be walking around on only its front 2 legs because its head is too damn heavy. But I do have to offer a defense, and it is this. If not for Alolan Persian, I could not have written one of my favorite jokes that I've put into a video in the last few years. It comes from if every Pokemon was dual type. Alolan Persian would be dark grass, because it can't be dark normal due to regular Persian, so instead it wields the power of the watermelon it swallowed. As for Illumise, why the hell is it here? What? I'm not trying to imply that it's popular, it's just it's totally forgettable. It's weak, appears in almost no regional dexes, and it's just a random filler Pokemon. But that doesn't warrant hate, it warrants apathy. Are y'all just mad that the official pronunciation is Illumise and not Illumise? Because if so, yeah, all right, yeah, that's kind of fair. It is weird, I don't fully get it. I only knew it was Illumise because I happened to watch an episode of the anime as a child.
There should have been an accent over the E. There should have been an accent over the E. That would have made all the difference.
Where they said Illumise. I do need to defend it, and I guess I kind of just did, but I'm not sure you shouldn't hate it, you should forget about it is sufficient. So instead, I offer you this. It is a Firefly. Which reminds me of Fireflies by Owl City, which is one of the greatest songs ever made. Number 11 is
a good
starter.
Song. Yeah.
Quilladin. 1,200.
I'm not aware of any other Owl City songs, really. Other than that like collab one he did with Carly Rae Jepsen. I'm old. But yeah, that's like the only other song I'm even aware of him like having any affiliation with. I love Owl City, but he really was, for the most part, just a one-hit wonder, wasn't he?
22 votes, 6.28% of respondents. I vividly remember being a freshman in college and Quilladin being revealed in an issue of Koro Koro, because that's how that worked back then. We had to get scans of a Japanese magazine to learn about the new Pokemon. And when people saw Quilladin, everyone lost their minds. It was widely considered the ugliest, worst middle stage starter ever. Now, I'll be real.
Really?
It ain't great. It loses all of Chespin's cuteness, but gains none of Chestnut's coolness. The eyes look weirdly dead, despite the seemingly jovial personality, and the nose is strangely large when Chespin's and Chestnut's are small. And then its issues are made even more glaring when comparing it to other awesome middle stage starters, like Bayleaf, Grovyle, Quilava, or Frogadier. But hold on a moment. Comparing it to other middle stage starters. Why don't we just keep doing that? Like Prinplup, Combuskin, Brionne, or frickin' Quaxwell. How the hell did both Quilladin and Quaquaval end up more hated than Quaxwell? What I'm trying to say is that
I don't know, Quaxwell's cute. I mean, I don't super care for any of that line, but like I like Quaxwell more than Quaquaval.
Yeah, Quilladin is not a great looking Pokemon, but hating it feels absurd. It's goofy and awkward, but so are a lot of middle stage starters. Very few get the privilege of being cool, much like real teenagers. I wasn't one of the cool ones, to be clear. Maybe that's why I'm okay with Quilladin. My defense of Quilladin is this. In its 3D model and some of its art, it does look dead inside. But whenever you see depictions of it showing more emotions, I actually think it's a pretty solid looking Pokemon. Closer to average. Speaking of average, I was appearing at a convention last summer and I was doing a Q&A and someone asked me, what Pokemon do you think are average? And I replied, most of them. And then everyone laughed, which I was happy about, but I'd also didn't fully understand. Like, that's how bell curves work. And Quilladin goes in the bell curve. Number 10 will be a brief entry because it's nearly identical to a previous one. Volbeat. 1,229 votes, 6.32% of respondents. Now,
I'm surprised that, like, I mean, I know that, like, not how statistics work necessarily, but like it's kind of surprising that Volbeat and Illumise weren't another tie because they're already the same thing in every other aspect. Like
I will say Volbeat is definitely worse than Illumise, but it's still more forgettable than hateable. It's just a dumb, kind of stupid-looking, boring Firefly that would have been combined with Illumise to form one Pokemon if they'd come out just one generation later.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. So instead of hating it, just remember Owl City. Can I buy a license to that song for this video? No, that would be a giant waste of money. Number 9 is kind of 2 entries, kind of not. For a lot of Pokemon, I made it so that each one of their unique forms had a different checkbox. That way, if their forms were very different from each other, people could vote for them differently. Like with Alolan Persian versus regular Persian. This Pokemon has 2 forms, but they are actually hated nearly equally. Technically, these 2 forms are the 9th and 10th most hated Pokemon, but they're right next to each other in the rankings and the same species. So I just combined them and shifted all the lower ones up. This Pokemon is Enamorus. Its Therian form got 1,266 votes, 6.51% of responses. Its incarnate form got a bit more, 1,324, 6.81%.
I was thinking he meant like an original variant and like a regional variant of some Pokemon. And I was like, I mean, yeah, it's not wrong, but like taxonomically, that wouldn't make any sense. It would still be the same species taxonomically, just like, you know, or no, it would be the same, probably like the same genus taxonomically, but like species wise, it would be different. It would be like a cousin or something.
And I don't really get it. I'm not a fan, to be clear, it ain't pretty, but unlike the other genies, its tail thing isn't just random shapes. It's a snake. That's fun. I like snakes. But what's really cool about Enamorus is that it's an example of evolving inspiration. Quoting from Bulbapedia, according to Junichi Masuda, the Therian forms of Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus were not originally based on the 4 symbols, but were inspired by similar mythological beings. This is why the forces of nature were not originally a quartet. The 4 symbols are major Chinese mythological creatures. The Azure Dragon of the East, the Vermilion Bird of the South, the White Tiger of the West, and the Black Turtle Snake of the North. The original 3 Therian forms represent 3 of those, but there wasn't a turtle. Sometimes it's a turtle, sometimes it's a turtle with a snake. So turtle snake. I don't know at what point in time Game Freak realized the genies could fit the 4 symbols. Maybe when designing the Therian forms during Gen 5, maybe later during the development of Legends Arceus. But either way, they realized that by adding a 4th one, they'd complete the quartet. Look, I know Enamorus is not the best looking Pokemon, but none of the genies are. So like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, no, even as a kid, I remember thinking, man, these all look so stupid. I still like them, but they look stupid.
And the origin behind them is pretty cool. Number 8 is, okay. Number 8 is Charizard. This is completely real. 1,364 votes.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with hating Charizard, but I can very much understand people being really fucking sick of this fucker. It has, I think it's the only Pokemon that has gotten every gimmick since they started introducing those. It got not 1 but 2 Mega Evolutions, and where's my phone? Okay, yeah, just confirming. It got not 1 but 2 Mega Evolutions. I was double checking to make sure it didn't get a 3rd one, one of those Z Megas or whatever. Which it did not. It got a Gigantamax form. it probably got a what's it called? It probably got its own like unique Z move in Sun and Moon. You know, like every regional gimmick this fucker has gotten for a long time. And I I thought Charizard was pretty cool as a kid. I'm really getting tired of seeing it. And I can only imagine all of these votes are for the same reason.
7.01% of responses. One of the most popular Pokemon ever is also one of the most hated. And I get it. To a degree. Charizard has been iconic since the original games, and consistently loved by many. Any Charizard card instantly is more expensive just because Charizard is on it. And because of this popularity, the only Pokemon to get more special treatment.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the Charizard, or I wasn't even thinking about the TCG, yeah. Yeah, like, probably Charizard plushies and Charizard merch in general, Charizard cards. Like, there's basically a Charizard tax on fucking everything because of how popular it is, and I seriously completely understand people just being really tired of even looking at it at this point.
Than Charizard is Pikachu. Charizard
Yeah.
got 2 Mega Evolutions in Gen 6. The only other one to do so was Mewtwo. Charizard was the Galar Champion's ace with a fancy Gigantamax form, while the other Kanto starters and the Galar starters had to wait until the DLC to get them. If you search Charizard on PokemonCenter.com, it has over 200 results. Blastoise and Venusaur have a quarter of that.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
To many, Charizard has done the latter. Like LeBron
Yeah.
James or Taylor Swift, it's been on top for so long that segments of people out there want nothing more than to see it fall. And for others, it's less malicious. It's just that people like to root for an underdog. And Charizard is an overdog. It's the poster child for Kanto favoritism. Can't tell you how many Mega Charizard Z memes I saw last year. Plus, there's plenty of other great Pokemon out there that deserve some love but have never gotten any. It can be a little hard to see Charizard get showered with so much great stuff when your favorite's just rotting over there on the side. Charizard is easy to defend. It's extremely cool and very iconic. I could never hate it just because of its special treatment. But in regards to that special treatment, Pokemon is a business. And they know a lot of people love Charizard, so they want people to buy the games and buy the merch with Charizard getting something cool in it. So
Yeah, but I feel like they can make yeah, that's the argument I've heard as well. It's all just capitalism. Charizard's popular, so they, capitalize on that. But like, you could bring some lesser known Pokemon to the spotlight, maybe give them something cool. But like, yeah, no, Charizard, I feel like very few adults like Charizard. When Charizard's like your favorite, when Charizard is like your number one, you're probably a kid who thinks dragons are cool. I was there when I was a kid, That was me. And it is a cool Pokemon, but like, how many adults genuinely unironically like Charizard and have it as their favorite? The answer is not zero, of course, but it's probably nowhere near as many.
like, just try to remember that. They don't hate your Pokemon. It's just capitalism. Number 7 is Aromatisse.
I know that this isn't how a lot of people think about it, but as far as I'm concerned, there comes a point where you've made enough money off of this thing. Try something else. Get a little more experimental. You have so little to lose by doing that. Oh no, you didn't make an extra couple bucks. Fuck it. Life is more than just seeing that number go up.
1,373 votes, 7.06% of responses. Yeah, this one I get. It's not great. I actually put it at
Yeah.
number 8 on my 2018 least favorite list. It's mainly the leg. It's weird when Pokemon mimic behaviors that people do when they're trying to be sexy. Like, put it back in there. Put it away. Put the leg away! The design of its face is not to my personal tastes. Not all Pokemon can be. But even so, I think Spritzy is fine. If Aromatisse had instead been more bird-like rather than strange person-like, I might have been on board. Unfortunately, it's really just not for me. I don't hate it like I used to, but if I was ranking all Pokemon, good to bad, it's gonna be on the tail end of the bad. As for how to defend it, it has a really cool shiny. I might actually like Aromatisse more if these were the standard colors, since the yellow eyes look better than the red in my opinion. Number 6 is
I can see that.
Monkey Dory? I must be missing something. What's the problem with the Loyal 3?
Yeah, no, I said this earlier. I'm at best indifferent. No, rather, at worst, I'm indifferent to Okidogi. I really can't stand Monkey Dory. I hate that fucker. I knocked it out as soon as I could.
2 of them in the top 20? Monkey Dory is the 6th most hated Pokemon? What? It got 1,462 votes, 7.52%. That's a lot of people that hate this Pokemon. Why? I covered some theories about Okidogi earlier, so maybe those explain it, but even then, my personal ranking of the Loyal 3 best to worst goes Pheasantipity, Monkey Dory, then Okidogi at the bottom. Monkey Dory is just a stupid monkey. Why are you devoting some of your finite mental resources to hating this monkey? Wait, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's amazing. I just think it's like, who cares? It's just a monkey. My defense for it is the same as Okidogi. The story behind it is interesting. And speaking of that story, I played it, generally enjoyed it, and then moved on. I do not understand why 3 years later, y'all are still mad about the freaking monkey. I understand number 5 a lot more. That Pokemon is Mr. Mime. 1,483 votes, 7.62% of responses. Yeah, a lot of people hate this thing. I've seen several maximum security prisons built in Pokopia just to house Mr. Mime.
Oh my god.
And then I saw one guy just bury it alive. People just, they really do not like Mr. Mime. And I gotta admit, I was included. It was my...
I've never hated Mr. Mime. It's never been my favorite by any means, but I've never hated it. One thing that I think was kind of a missed opportunity though is like, and I know the reason why they did this. It's because its name in Japanese, I think it's just barrier or something, or at least it like translates to barrier. It doesn't have a male honorific of any kind, or like any kind of masculine anything as part of its name in Japanese. So they didn't lean into this, but like when genders were added, they made Jinx like exclusively female. So like they could have leaned into that with Mr. Mime and just given them a shared baby form. Maybe have a more gender neutral Smoochum, or like a more gender neutral looking Smoochum, and then the male one evolves into Mr. Mime, and the female one evolves into Jinx or something. They could have done something like that. So like Mr. Mime bothers me more so from what could have been rather than anything to do with the Pokemon itself. But I don't hate it. I don't think I ever have.
Pipe, yes, okay, I can. Shoving, pushing. My problem is that I push people away and then hate them for leaving.
He's saying you can shove it.
What? I can shove it?
My number 4 least favorite in my 2014 video, then number 3 in the 2018 video, where I railed against its creepy, spindly legs, deformed feet, and empty, evil expression staring at you through your bedroom window.
Oh
but
my god.
That was then. Now, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of ugly, kind of weird, but also kind of funny. You ever see this thing run? It looks dumb as hell, but in a funny dumb way, not an angering way. You could say my defense of Mr. Mime is like the ridiculous spell from Harry Potter, where when you realize just how silly and stupid it is, it becomes a lot less creepy. Mr. Mime.
Is that ridiculous spell? Is he referring to that one that just makes the target start dancing uncontrollably or something? What is he referring to? I'm not that familiar with Harry Potter. I think I used to know people who were a lot more into Harry Potter than I am back in the day, and like they showed me like this list of spells from Harry Potter, and I saw, I think it was like one of the first ones, because it was in alphabetical order. I think one of the first ones was the one that makes the target just start uncontrollably dancing. And I thought that was so funny.
Number 4 is another Pokemon I've personally hated in the past.
Oh,
Watchog.
Watchog, yeah.
1,486 votes, 7.64% of responses. It was number 6 in my 2018 video, number 3 in the 2014 video. Now, I'll say I don't much care for how it looks. One single buck tooth and alarming eyes that look bloodshot, just not really a design for me. But what made me truly hate Watchog was not its appearance, it was battling them.
Yeah.
A lot of them. In Black and White, Lenora uses one with Hypnosis, an incredibly annoying hacks move that either misses and does nothing, or ruins your day. Combined with Leer and Crunch lowering defense and Retaliate is the stab move, it becomes one of the hardest gym battles in Pokemon.
I never cared for Watchog, but I never hated it. I don't remember struggling with it that much in Black and White.
But then after that, Plasma Grunts love this thing. So many of them use it, and most just spam Hypnosis, Confuse Ray, and Super Fang. The only way they could have made it more annoying to fight would be giving it frickin' double team. And you gotta fight like 15 to 20 of these things. In short, Watchog is infuriating, but really only in Black and White. The grunts in the sequels use a much wider variety of Pokemon, and it's barely appeared in any games past that. And they say time heals all wounds. So while I'm certainly not fond of it, it's been quite a while since Watchog has actually made me angry. My defense of Watchog is this. PM7's shiny Watchog cookie was very funny and single-handedly improved my opinion of it.
Look at him go! Come on, buddy!
Oh,
we now move to the podium. Or whatever the opposite of that is.
Podium, and we still got about 8.5 minutes or so of this video left.
And before I reveal them, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. It's a great signal to YouTube to show you more of my videos, and if you've watched this far, you'll probably like my videos. I don't know why I'm turning into a little mouse guy here. It is 9:42 p.m. Number 3 had the biggest percentage increase so far. The first one to jump over 1% beyond the previous. With 1,730 votes, 8.89% of responses, the third most hated Pokemon is Miltank. What you mean only number 3? Remember how I said that I've mostly mellowed out and that I don't really hate very many Pokemon anymore? Still hate Miltank. Still really hate Miltank. Whitney's traumatized me in my youth. Battle Mason ones traumatized me in college. Using only one Miltank to beat Heart Gold traumatized me as an adult. But worst of all,
not enough people have done reactions to the Magic Mike video. No, I'm not giving more context for that. Just figure it out. But but yeah, or no, that wasn't Magic Mike. That was Milkman Mike. Magic Mike was a different one. Yes, I am still referring to him, not to the movie. But yeah, no, not enough people even like I watch a lot of reactions to Michael's stuff, and not enough people have seem to even be aware of the Milkman Mike video, let alone reacted to it. And it's probably one of his best. And that's saying a lot. So yeah.
It has giant flopping sausage nipples. They gave the cow nipples jiggle physics. And now I have to defend this stupid thing. My God. Okay. How about this? Nothing about Miltank is redeemable. That's not a defense. Give me a second. However, if not for my hatred of it, then I never would have done the Miltank playthrough in Heart Gold, which was generally unpleasant, but that video does end in a sequence.
I really wish that I hadn't watched that video when it came out, like, what even was it, like 2 or 3 years ago now? Because I would, if nobody else is reacting to that one, I would have loved to do a reaction to that one, but I've seen it already. I've seen it multiple times. I just watched it the other day again, like, that video's so good and nobody seems to know about it. What the fuck?
That I edited, and when I was doing so, I laughed so hard I cried. We now move to number 2. And y'all, the jump from 3 to 2 was massive. While Miltank was selected by around 1,700 people, just under 9% of respondents, this Pokemon was selected by 2,477 people. 12.73% of responses. A jump of almost 4%. This extremely hated Pokemon is Jinx. It was my number 7 least favorite in my 2018 video, and I've never liked it. It's a freaky looking lady that seductively wiggles its hips as it walks, and we don't need that.
Isn't Jinx actually like really good in Gen 1 though, if you get it? Because it's like ice type. Again, back to, I mean, already it was psychic type, so by default it was already going to be really good from that, but also like ice types were like borderline busted in Gen 1, especially late game. Which again goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this video, that like ice types are a really cool underdog type that do not get enough respect or love.
In Pokemon, we just don't. Additionally, it's the only Pokemon to be redesigned because it was racist. Following the American airing of Holiday Hijinks in 1999, Carol Boston Weatherford, an African-American cultural critic, claimed that Jinx was a negative racial stereotype of African Americans due to the Pokemon's black skin and oversized facial features, which were typical in minstrel shows. There is debate surrounding the inspirations behind Jinx's design, attributing the appearance to Gyaru fashion or the Nordic goddess Hel.
This one pertains more to Mr. Popo and Dragon Ball, but I could see it being similar inspiration where Mr. Popo in Dragon Ball is controversial character for the exact same reasons Jinx is, but I've heard arguments that he's based on like a Hindu god. And if you look at like artistic if you look at like artistic renditions of this Hindu god, artistic depictions, I should say. Yeah, it looks identical to Mr. Popo. I mean, I think it's like skinnier or something, but yeah, it's like this is a Hindu god, and like Hinduism was one of the oldest religions out there. I don't know when specifically worship of this god was a thing. I don't know if it was like one of the first ones. Hinduism has a lot of gods. I'm surprised I don't just casually. I'm sure there's plenty, but I'm surprised I don't just casually run into more video essays about it. But yeah, like. I'm blanking on which god it was, but it is like a Hindu god or something that Mr. Popo is supposedly based on. So his appearance is more so just based on artistic depictions of that god, and not necessarily like the racial stereotypes that everybody sees when they look at it. But yeah, and I could possibly see a similar inspiration for Jinx but I obviously can't know for sure.
But even if the designers had no offensive intentions, it turned out offensive, and thus Pokemon responded by changing Jinx to have purple skin. But what this proves is that if you have to redesign it to not be offensive, maybe you just should have skipped it. In summation, it's weird, gross, and very offensive at times. It makes perfect sense why it's hated to this degree. And now I have to defend it? Why did I do this? I guess the name is good. I guess Jinx is a cool name for something. That's why League of Legends also did it.
I'm just now realizing he doesn't really go into like the actual mechanics of these Pokemon or anything. Like he goes into much more subjective stuff, like, you know, their appearances or like unique fun stuff about them that, you know, should probably be worth pointing out and like appreciating or something. But like, you know, or even just like what their plot, what like their purpose and role in the stories they show up in are and stuff like that. But like, I imagine many of these could also just be defended just by like pointing out, you know, their move sets or like their stats or whatever, how useful they can be in battle. He doesn't go into that much in this game, in this video though. I've noticed. I love how I'm 33 minutes, just about 34 minutes into this video, and almost an hour into recording, and I'm only just now noticing that.
But now for number 1, the most hated Pokemon, and it is far more hated than the others. I couldn't believe it. While Jinx got nearly 2,500 votes, this Pokemon got over 30,000. It is astronomically more hated than any
Bulbasaur?
other Pokemon, and it is Bulbasaur. Let me explain.
Yeah, because earlier in the video he showed the silhouettes for Charizard and Bulbasaur, so I wasn't sure what placement it would have, but I knew that Bulbasaur was going to be in here. I'm surprised it's number 1. Although actually, I'm not that surprised. Mechanically, Bulbasaur's the best one to have in Gen 1, just because as he goes into it many times, you know, your starter choice is going to matter more, or it's going to matter the most early game, and early game Grass is good again. Grass is great against Brock. It's good against Misty. It's not strong against Surge, but it is resistant to Surge. And then it's neutral to Erica. So for the first 4 gyms, it's strong, resistant, neutral. And when you have, and like when you're in the early game and you have less starter choice, or you have less like Pokemon varieties to choose from for your team, something that makes the early game easier is gonna be massively important. But like, yeah, a lot of people just look at it and they're like, that looks dumb. I'm gonna choose one of the other ones.
Remember how I said that my survey, it got like a little under 20,000 responses? That wasn't exactly true. In reality, I capped the responses at 49,500. Google Forms said it would delete the summary screen if it passed 50,000, and that would have been really bad. The problem was that over 30,000 of those responses were Bulbasaur and nothing else. For context, the large majority of responses included multiple Pokemon, whereas these just had the first one on the list and nothing else. About an hour after I posted the survey, a flood of responses with Bulbasaur and no other Pokemon began pouring in, several every second. This continued for about 1 hour and 45 minutes until abruptly stopping. From that point on, only a couple more Bulbasaur submissions came through, each including other Pokemon alongside it. I don't know if Google Forms glitched and just turned a bunch of responses into just the first answer and nothing else, or if someone built a bot to do this and just really muck everything up, or they just really hated Bulbasaur. Who knows? It was all very weird, but also completely invalid. So I subtracted the 30,048 Bulbasaur answers and recalculated the percentages based on the number of valid responses, which was just under 20,000. This does mean that some legitimate votes for Bulbasaur ended up deleted, and the percentages I've been saying in this video are slightly off because, you know what, I don't need to get into the math. They're basically the same. Almost no one legitimately voted for Bulbasaur because, of course, it's Bulbasaur. Who would hate Bulbasaur? The true #1 most hated Pokemon is Bruxish.
Oh, God.
Jinx was a fish. Also, I just want to say it seems Pokemon with kissy lips are just generally not very appreciated.
As somebody who's not a fan of big lips in general, I get it. I completely get it. I know some people are like super into big lips. Meanwhile, I'm like, in some cases, actively repulsed by them. You know, and I mean, you know, it's like that's just what your face looks like. That's just what you got. I don't hate you as a person if you have big lips. Just.
I wonder if that would be the case.
I mean, I'm Hispanic. That sort of thing is very common in the, you know, I mean, it's not as big here where I live today, but like where I grew up, you know, that sort of thing was all over the place. Lots of people had big lips. It was just the norm.
If Pokemon was a majority female fandom rather than majority male. Bruxish got 2,548 votes. 13.1% of the valid responses. Over 1/8 of all the people who opened this form hate Bruxish. That is a huge amount. And I don't really get it. I definitely understand disliking it. It's ugly as sin. The person lips with sharp teeth look odd and gross, and the eyelashes are a strange choice. It's also unfortunate that it looks like this because it's based on a cool looking fish, the fish with the best name, the Huma Huma Nuka Nuka Wapwa Ah, which might I say I knew about before the High School Musical 2 song. I was taught that fish as a little child. Bruxish is
I watched High School Musical 2. I don't remember that at all. Not even a little bit.
definitely bad. But #1 over Jinx and Miltank? Like, I get it being in the top 20. I don't understand it being #1. Jinx, Miltank, and Bruxish are all ugly, but Jinx and Miltank have baggage that make them far more hateable. Like the racism controversy, or the weirdly sexual parts of their designs, or just being infuriating to freaking fight. Bruxish has neither of those things. It's just ugly. It came out, it was revealed, I thought, ew, and then I moved on. Not only do I think other Pokemon deserve more hatred, but I can offer other defenses. It has a really cool shiny, and it taught
Well, that's
me what
actually pretty cool,
bruxism
yeah.
meant. Not great
The habit of unconsciously gritting or grinding the teeth, especially in situations of stress or during sleep. Oh, I think I have that. I grind my teeth a lot.
defenses, but look, Bruxish is wearing the hated crown, and I genuinely believe it belongs on another Pokemon's head. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see a video where I talk about Pokemon that I do actually like, and where I make them stronger in the process, then check out my video, I fixed my favorite bad Pokemon. What are
I keep trying to do that thing where I pause like the very last second of the video. That was like capturing lightning in a bottle for me, man. I've been chasing that high ever since. But anyway, yeah, the video he mentioned right at the end there, I highly recommend that one too. That's a fantastic video. The Miltank playthrough, absolutely watch that. It's one of his best, honestly. It's so good. Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this. Had a lot of fun, like, you know, hearing these answers, hearing these explanations, putting my own 2 cents in for those of you who care. I might cut some yapping out. I'm not sure because again, this video is just under 40 minutes long, and my reaction time is actually only like 20 minutes longer in the video so far, at least for the raw recording. That is not too bad, actually. Actually, I think it might be closer to like 30 minutes longer now. Anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna leave this video here. Be sure to, first of all, be sure to go subscribe to MandJTV. Again, fantastic content, and from what I hear, fantastic person in general. Highly recommend him. Want to support him, and if you enjoy listening to me yap and talk about my favorite things and like all that other stuff, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Twitch channel, which I believe is the same name as this. Actually, I'll have it linked in the description. Or my if you want to watch, I do also like stream on YouTube. I dual stream. So if you want to watch my streams on YouTube, I'll have the link to that channel in the description as well. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and take care.